Everybody except white people are victims. Now, that's just a short list of possible opportunities on college campuses. And extracurricular activities have also changed with unisex competition and looting if you lose. See you around campus. Back after this. If you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom lovers. Good morning, Ken Williams.
Good morning, Vic.
You pissed off today, man?
A little bit.
I am pissed off today.
Vic walked in and said this morning, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and we're like, yeah, let's go.
Let's go, baby. Bring it on. And then we're sitting here, a little behind the curtain stuff, a little behind the curtain radio stuff. Nick joins us on a, what would you call that? It sounds like he's in the studio. It doesn't sound like he's on the phone.
Well, we call it Opal.
Piece of equipment, Opal. Yeah. So it doesn't sound like he's on the phone. So Ken always has to say, hey, Nick, are you there? And Nick goes, yeah, ready to kick some liberal ass. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, big show today. Nick Schroer, as I mentioned. That's crap coming up at 9:25. Mark Mix going to join us today? Is he busy playing Buck with Fat Albert?
No, he's definitely, without a doubt, going to be here today. I had a little conversation with their people, so he's going to be here.
And you don't want a conversation with Ken when Ken's pissed, okay?
No.
We're going to talk today about Representative Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yes.
Right. On the committees, right? All the committees. She seems like I'm such a good person and everything.
Yeah.
She is the biggest bitch who has ever sat in a congressional seat.
Yeah.
Ever. 10:25 today. I feel a little vindicated, Ken, because we've been talking about Israel and what they do to get back at people, right? And we always bring up the 1972 Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, I feel a little vindicated, and we'll tell you why at 10:25. Drew Thomas Allen joins us. He's our great conservative, trapped on the left, loony West Coast. Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, and let's kick some liberal ass with Nick Schroer. Who's leading us in the pledge today?
Well, Vic, from the Project 21 group, we have Emery McClendon.
All right, Emery, you're on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Everett. Nice job. Okay, are we ready to go?
Let's go.
Let's get him. Let's go.
He's known by many names.
We, the people are in charge. Once we put the people back in charge, we are going to save our republic.
Nikki Two Shows. Schroer the Thrower. Twitter trolls love to hate him.
We love Vic Porcelli so much.
He's Nick Schroer, Missouri State Senator.
Good morning, Senator Schroer.
Good morning, boy.
How are you, man?
Man, I am just getting a little ticked off with seeing what this administration is doing to everything, and having two young girls, having relatives that are military aged. The stuff's getting serious, and I'm pissed off.
Boy, I'll tell you what. I sometimes people don't understand the position that they're even coming from. Okay,
right?
Because when you have people like Elon Omar, can you get ready to play number 15? She has no idea the point of view that she's coming from, or that there even is another point of view, right? I guess egocentric would be that. I feel this way. Everybody feels this way. So she was asked about the horrific stuff that Hamas did to Israelis, and this was her response.
I have another question. Why don't you want Israelis
a question from anyone else
that burned, tortured, killed their babies and children and still have them hostage? Why don't you want the Israelis to go after the terrorists that did that?
How many more killings is enough for you? Is it 1,000 more? 2,000 more? 3,000 more? How many more Palestinians would make you happy if they died? Will you be fine if all of the people of Gaza were gone? Would that make you happy? Would that be the thing that makes you proud? And maybe that's the question you should ask Richie. Is he okay? How many more Palestinian lives is he comfortable with? Because I'm not comfortable with any more.
I have a theory. People talk loud when they want to act smart, right?
Correct, says Plankton. Just because she's loud doesn't mean she's right, Nick.
You know, I know you mentioned that was clip number 15, but most of what she has to say is number 2.
Yeah, got it.
I can't fathom how people like her, Rashida Tlaib, Corey Bush, these anti-Semites, these racists, these hate mongers are joining the quote unquote tolerant left. Because if they're anti-hate, it doesn't expand to, you know, hating of straight white males or Trump supporters or Republicans or people that just disagree with them. So it baffles my mind to even see that they got enough votes, but then you've got the guy in the White House. So that's a totally different story. But I will say, she sounded a lot like President Donald Trump there. Even though I disagree with a lot of what she has to say, she reiterated what Donald Trump had to say, and let's just stop the killings. And as of right now, the Democrats are not the ones that are stopping the killings. They're lighting a fire under what's happening in Ukraine, under what's happening in Israel, under what's happening now in Lebanon and in Iraq. I mean, we've got embassies that are being evacuated right now that are being attacked because we are pouring gasoline on this fire. We're sending 12,000 of our U.S. troops from the Navy and the Marines over on warships and sending out more letters, prepare to deploy letters from the Pentagon. So I think the only person here, when we go into 2024 and we can conceptualize, now we have Republicans and extreme leftists like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib saying, how many more killings are worth it? Well, I think being the pro-life party, we want to stop the killings. That's why we had peace with the Abraham Accords and Donald Trump ushering through these deals in the Middle East when we had the media saying quite the contrary, that he was going to be the one starting World War III. But now we actually have a demented, senile individual in the name of Joe Biden, who is our chief executive officer, so to speak, of this nation, making us the laughing stock of the world. And, you know, it's not being reported in the U.S., but it's being reported in Australian news and other news sources that we are under attack. Our troops that are in Syria and Iraq right now are being attacked. Why is that not being reported here?
Nick, on its face, I totally agree with everything you just said. But what in this particular clip, Ilhan Omar is talking specifically about Hamas and the Palestinians. How many is enough? How many is enough? And she keeps saying that. I would have been a reporter there. I would have interrupted her and said, how many Israelis is enough for you? And have her answer it. She wouldn't have answered it, just like Rashida Tlaib, Presley, and Corey Bush will not answer that question. You know what I mean? Nick, are you there?
See, you thunderstole and you scared Nick away.
I knocked him off.
That's what you get for being a thunderstealer. I was going to say everything you just said.
Were you?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
Ken, Thunderstealer.
He's going to have to work his way back on here. I can call him.
I don't know how that works.
I'll call him.
So, can he still hear me? I wonder if I. All right. So anyway, so she says, here's what cracks me up about this. Okay, and well, I got to talk to Nick about that. But she says, how many more killings? 1,000, 2,000, and honestly, the hard-hearted. You there, Nick?
Yeah, he's there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so she said, how many more killings? Right. And my first thought, because I was so irate about what they did to people in Israel, and they were civilians, that my first thought was like, well, 1,400 would be good because they killed 1,400 civilians
in
Israel. So, you know, that's the real jerk in me. And why wasn't she saying how many more people you're going to kill on October 7th when they were killed?
Right.
Because first it was 600, then it was 800, then it was 1,000, then it was 1,400. Why wasn't she saying how many more killings do you want then?
Well, and why isn't she echoing that back to Hamas? If she's so worried about standing up and being the pro-life individual she thinks she is, why isn't she calling her buddies over there in the Gaza Strip who voted for Hamas to be the prevailing party? And when you look at that prevailing party, when you look at what Hamas has said they want to do, their leader has said they want to hunt Jews across the universe and find them and kill them, that it would be a lot easier if they all moved to Israel and he could wipe them out in one fell swoop. This is the type of party that she's backing. And if she's so concerned, like you said, Ken, if they want to be a good journalist, they would ask her the hard-hitting questions. If you're worried about stopping the killings, where were you when they were calling for the global jihad on Friday the 13th, where French teachers got stabbed and murdered, and countless others are being attacked at these pro-Palestinian rallies across the world?
Yeah.
Another thing, Nick, you were talking about how she sounds like Trump and no more killings. I think, to me, the big difference is that Trump is talking about troops Russian troops and Ukrainian troops. And this, we're talking about terrorists. And I'm going to really be a jerk here. I don't care how many terrorists die. I really don't.
Well, you know, that's my mindset of the FAFO, mess around and find out.
You bet.
And that's exactly why I think the Second Amendment, and I'll get to why this is vitally important when it comes to the Israel and Hamas attacks. The Second Amendment is something which will ensure that we will not be treaded upon. We will not be invaded like we saw in Israel. Now, you remember that the scene where those guys are coming in, the terrorists, cowardly schmucks, were coming in on their little parasails or whatever the heck they were. And they were just gunning down. They were gunning down these young men and women that were at this rave. Well, we find out that three out of the handful that actually survived. Do you know what they had on them? Illegally, but they had on firearms. They snuck firearms into this concert and were successfully able to protect themselves and some of the others that were around them with firearms.
Yeah, we should.
And that's why I think this should be evidence that all these people like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and all these that are trying to strip away your right to just a semi-automatic firearm, not the same type of weapons that he gave to the Taliban when he left them all there in Afghanistan, or the same type that he was shipping over with Obama with the drug cartels in Operation Fast and Furious. This should be evidence that we will not step back. We will not retreat. We will stand our ground in protecting the Second Amendment, because that absolutely is keeping this nation safe.
And we should probably point out, Nick, in case people don't know, because honestly, I didn't know that in Israel, they don't have a Second Amendment there, like a similar to a Second Amendment. They cannot carry weapons.
Well, and now there's a big movement to reverse course on a lot of those anti-Second Amendment or anti-gun protections, because they're trying to put the same type of guns Biden and his cronies are trying to strip us of. They're trying to put that in the hands of the Israelis over there to defend their homeland. Let that sink in. They did the same thing in Ukraine when Ukrainians were being attacked, and they didn't have a Second Amendment. They didn't have a right to bear arms. And guess what we did with our billions of dollars that we sent over there? We put weapons in the hands of their civilians while at the same time trying to strip us of ours.
All right, another story I want to talk to you about, which I don't understand, because, I mean, there was a lady, synagogue president in Detroit. She was murdered either inside her house. It looks like she was now murdered inside her house, and then crawled out of her house, because the blood trail leads from the house to out of the house. And right now they're saying this attack was not anti-Semitic. It was not a hate crime, but yet they don't have a suspect. They don't even have a person of interest. So how can they make that determination that it was not anti-Semitic when they don't even know who did it?
Well, who's saying it? It's
the police.
Mainstream media.
The police are saying it.
NBC reported it, though, Vic. NBC reported this like immediately.
They always will, though. My point is they always will.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now the problem is law enforcement themselves are doing it.
Yeah.
They're saying, no, it's not anti-Semitic. Well, you don't even have a person of interest. How do you know until you have somebody in custody or question somebody?
Yeah.
My God.
Well, I'll take that statement from law enforcement, and I'll raise you another statement from law enforcement from the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol is saying right now Americans should be aware that our border is so porous and so broken that we need to be on warning. Hezbollah and Hamas, these anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish terrorists, are sneaking into our nation. So, when you add that into this, coupled with the fact that we're shipping these terrorists and illegal immigrants, we can't tell the difference, because now we've got a record number of individuals that are sneaking into our border that are being apprehended on the terror watch list. We're shipping them all over. One of the places is Chicago. The mayor of St. Louis and the asinine board of aldermen are working with Chicago to bring some of those illegal immigrants here. Now, do you think there's going to be any terrorists? You think out of all the military-age men that have been shipped to Chicago, that some of those might come over to St. Louis? I am calling on the governor, and I'm working right now with my staff to figure out how we can initiate the National Guard or the Highway Patrol to ensure that these illegals are not going to come here, that they're not going to break further law in coming here. We need to protect our border, protect our sovereignty, and if the governor doesn't get off of his butt and defend our homeland, we as the elected leaders in the House and the Senate, yes, we're not in session right now, but we need to make a hell of a lot of noise to ensure that our people are well aware of what's happening in.
You there, Nick? Hello? He's blowing the fuse.
He is.
What I wanted to bring up to you and to Nick, Vic, is let's add to this, because Biden wants $10 billion for the border. It's not to stop the influx of people. It's to take all of those people who are actually coming in, the millions by the month. Now it's getting that close. I mean, it's 250,000, something like that. And he's trying to make it to where it's easier and faster for them to get in. It's called the CBP1 app that they're using. They're actually giving them, and they have preferential treatment to get in and go wherever they want to go. For example, Nick, you talked about terrorists coming across the border, okay? Here are some countries of interest that are coming over the border as we speak that are documented right now. Afghanistan, Iran, Lebanon, Jordan, Yemen, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. These are the top ones that are coming in from that region across our southern border. Why? Why, Nick? Why are they coming in from our southern border?
Well, and it makes no sense, because you've got, when we stand up as Republicans and say, hey, we need to protect our border, we need a border wall, we need border defense, and all of a sudden we're anti-Mexican, we're racist, we're anti-Hispanic. It's like, well, wait a second. The vast majority of the people that are coming over through that border are not Mexican. They're not Hispanic. We've got, like, the countries you mentioned and China. And now we've got hundreds of people that are being found from the terror watch list sneaking in. No, it's past time. We should have secured our border years ago, decades ago. And as the world is burning right now, we're on the verge of World War III. Even Elon Musk has said we are slowly tiptoeing in. We're sleepwalking into World War III. We need to wake the hell up. If we can't protect our border at the southern border, we need to do it here in Missouri.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, final thing. I'll just make a quick statement here. Elon Musk has offered Wikipedia $1 billion to change their name to Dickopedia. That's true.
It's a really
dick move, but
great move. I like it.
Nickopedia or Wikipedia.
Yes. Oh my God. Vic and Nickopedia.
But then that would align you guys with Dickopedia. I don't know if you want that.
All right, Nick. I hope you're warming up in the bullpen, ready for the next session in January to kick some liberal ass. Okay.
Well, we're already there, and I think we've ushered out our 5-point plan, which we need to pass to make this free.
All right, Nick.
He's burning up the phone.
Yeah, you've completely burned up your Opal unit. But I'm sure he would have said, God bless you guys, right?
Yeah, God bless you,
so
Nick.
God bless you back, Nick. All right. Boy, Nick's.
He's a little fired up.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Great.
Drew Thomas Allen comes by at 10:41 today, 10:25. We're going to talk about this elite group of commandos that Israel is sending to go find some Hamas.
Okay.
Dr. Randy Tobler. That's right. Hey, Starbucks supports Hamas.
Yeah.
So if you're getting coffee there, guess what? You are supporting terrorist activity. Mark Mix from the Right to Work Foundation will join us at 9:41 today. Coming up next, that's Crap on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
If that's what is wish, end of quote. Repeat the line. If that's what is wish.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
That's the one that started it all. What's it? Whoosh. Oh my God. All right, listen, if you need a new roof, if you're not sure if you need a new roof, if you, after a storm, found some shingles on your lawn and you don't know if it came from your roof or somebody else's roof, guess what? If you call Connor Roofing, they will come by and tell you exactly what you need or what you don't need. All right. Goober is going to tell you you need a whole new roof. Okay. So don't go with Goober. Go with the Connors. They have an honest estimate for you. They also have quality work, all in-house crews, no subcontractors, and great customer service and follow-up. And you know what? Calling it great customer service is not even enough. There's more to it. They want to have a relationship with their customers, and that would be you. So if you do have emergency storm repairs, they're available for that. They also have senior discounts and veterans discounts. So the one name in roofing that you need is Connor Roofing, and you can visit them at connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com, CONNER roofing.com.
Hi, Chris Arps here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event will take place on Tuesday, November 14th at the Factory in the District in the Chesterfield Valley. Hear from the experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2024 and beyond. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by sending an email to emails@royalbanksnet.com or by calling 314-212-1545. Royal Banks, Missouri, the community bank that is in your community.
Want to know how to get the same cell coverage for up to half the cost? Well, instead of spending a fortune building and maintaining their own cell phone towers, Consumer Cellular just pays to use the same towers as the largest carriers and passes the savings on to you. Pretty smart, huh? Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 5 GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dialogue to you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
On News Talk STL.
All right. Welcome home to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is Ken Williams. And coming up for the rest of the way today, Drew Thomas Allen will join us at 10:41. I can't wait to see what he says about Ilhan Omar and AOC and their defense of Hamas. I just don't understand. 10:25, we're going to give you a story about how Israel is fighting back their own way. All right. They have formed an elite group of commandos and they're going after Hamas. We'll talk about that then. Sheila Jackson Lee, you know, Ken and I, we work together here every day. And Ken never yells at me. You know, he's the boss. He never yells at me. He never, you know, spouts off about what I'm doing wrong.
You never yell at me. Well, actually, you know, it's weird, but we yell at each other. We call each other names, but it's in love, right?
Oh, of course. It's goofing
Okay.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Sheila Jackson Lee, if you work for Sheila Jackson Lee, you need some sort of psychotic medicine, some sort of sedative, something to get you to sleep at night because
Yeah.
she's so bad. That's how bad she is. Believe it or not, I don't know, that's a stupid thing to say. Believe it because it makes sense. Starbucks union sides with Hamas. Seriously? Think about that when you're ordering a coffee from them. Go to Dunkin' Donuts instead. But right now, it's time for That's Crap.
Welcome to That's Crap. It's the game where we find out if it's the truth or if that's crap. Here's the host of That's Crap, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jim Maldron, very much. Thank you, everybody. Oh, thank you, studio audience. Great to see you. Everybody looks great. You know what? Today, everybody's going to walk away with a copy of our home game. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Everybody in our studio audience gets a copy of the home game. And, you know, Jim says at the beginning there, welcome to That's Crap, where we find out if it's the truth or if that's crap. It's rarely the truth. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
All of our contestants are full of crap. Today, once again, we've given him yet another chance. He is Joe Biden, All-American, rode 1,000,000 miles on Amtrak. What else has he told us in the past?
Oh, he traveled 17,000 miles in hiking with Xi Jinping,
right?
Little Himalayas,
and with their backpacks, right?
Right.
Joe Biden and Xi Jinping had their backpacks and their little water bottles, right?
Oh yeah.
And they climbed the mountains of all 17,000 miles of the Himalayas, that's right. That's like all the way around the world, isn't it? 17,000 miles.
25,000 is around the world.
So that's
pretty
a
close.
long range of mountains. My God. All right, Joe. Once again, we'll give you the shot. Today, the category is your Uncle Frank's Purple Heart.
And by the way, I told you about my uncle who won the Purple Heart, the Battle of the Bulge, and my father's younger brother. My father came to me after I was a senator, and he said, you know, his brother's name was Frank. And he said, you know, Uncle Frank never got his Purple Heart. I think you could find out about that. I was a senator, so I found out, and sure enough, he did. So I got a Purple Heart for him. I invited him over to the house with the family to give it to him. He said, I don't want the damn thing. I said, why? He said, the others died. I didn't. I don't want it. And an awful lot of brave people died over there.
Ken.
Yeah, Vic.
Can you help me here? How much of that story is true? His uncle was to be awarded a Purple Heart. He never got it. His brother, Uncle Frank's brother, says, hey, he never got his Purple Heart. You're a senator. Can you take care of that? And Joe Biden said, sure, I'll take care of that. Got him his Purple Heart. And then Uncle Frank said, no, I don't want it because people died.
Yeah.
How much of that is true?
Okay, well, there's some major holes in the story, Vic. Primarily the fact that his uncle, he died almost a decade before the 2008 election. So that part of it, couldn't work. Biden, he said he recounted the story at a town hall event on veterans benefits on Friday, saying his father, Joe Biden Sr., encouraged him some time after the 2008 election to give the Purple Heart to Frank Biden for his service during the Battle of the Bulge, claiming he deserved the medal, but had never been awarded. Okay, the president's father died in 2002. His uncle.
I'm not laughing. I'm sorry.
No. His uncle died in 1999. Now, Biden claimed his uncle told him, I don't want the damn thing, when it was presented to him because many he served with didn't survive the battle. There doesn't appear to be any record of Biden giving his uncle the honor at all. There's no record at all of this.
So if there's no record of him even giving him the Medal of Honor, then there has to be no record of his uncle saying, I don't want the damn thing because people died.
Right.
So there's more than a few holes. It's total crap.
It's total crap.
Sorry, Joe. My God.
And that's just symptomatic of everything he's done. I mean, it's symbolic of everything he's done.
So let's think about this for just a second, okay? And then let's try to relate it to official policy stuff. So he claimed that his uncle never got his Purple Heart. So his father, who was his uncle's brother, said, hey, he never got this medal. Maybe you should get it for him. Okay, well, I'm a senator. I'll get it for him. So maybe his father should have said, now, keep in mind, Uncle Frank is dead. So if you could just put it around his ghost.
It will dig him up.
Exhume the body, put the Purple Heart around his skeleton, and then we'll put him back in the ground. And then from the grave, Uncle Frank says, I don't want the damn thing because guys died there. So here's the the really important point about this is that it's an event that never happened. Okay. He never gave his uncle the Purple Heart. And then he had to go embellish and said to try to make his uncle look like a bigger hero than he was.
Yeah.
Granted, he was a hero. He got a Purple Heart. I'll give him that. Okay. But he was such a hero and such a great guy. He said, no, I don't want the damn thing, because people died in the Battle of the Bulge.
And I believe that Joe thinks that this is a reflection upon him.
Of course.
Because they're all such heroes that because he's a relative, it must be also on Joe. And the thing that troubles me, Vic, is that this last occurrence of this, he was at a big round table with all of his cabinet talking about very important things. He's saying this, they're sitting there looking at him, nodding their heads like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great. But the mistrust that they have in this guy, because they know it's a lie. So anything he's saying at that table, it's not just the story, it's about everything that he talks about.
That's worse.
I agree.
What you're saying is worse.
That's what I'm saying.
Than him saying that. The people around him just, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Right.
Neither thing is right. So sorry, Joe. Once again, you've lost, and that's all the time we have for the That's Crap.
This is Jim Modulin speaking for That's Crap, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman radio production.
Thank you, Jim Modulin. This is Vic Porcelli saying, help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody. Man. It's one lie after the next.
That's why I call him a serial liar and a serial plagiarist and a serial whatever. Just fill in the blank.
He's not well.
No, he's not.
He's not well.
But he's never been. I mean, this is not age-related either. This goes back to the 70s he was doing this stuff.
I've said that all along. I said stop talking about his age. Start talking about his mental acuity.
Yep.
Hey, we've got podcasts up, every time we do a show. You can go watch the podcast. I always say watch the podcast because that's how I listen to the show.
Yeah.
I go back and watch it, know. And so you can listen to it, or if you can stand these two handsome faces for 2 solid hours, that's up to you. You can watch the streams whenever you want to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Rumble, YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do that for us, okay? So Starbucks unionized. Baristas are now members of the local brotherhood of baristas, I guess, and they are siding with Hamas. Well, let's see what Mark Mix, president of Right to Work, has to say about that. He's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Most Americans are a $400 unexpected expense away from bankruptcy.
That's Bidenomics in action.
On News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Tuesday at 4:20. We'll speak with David Stokes on the Rockwood Prop 3. And at 5:20, Lieutenant Colonel Riley Washington, author of Awakening the Voice of Truth.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show. Don't let going to the office become a grind unless it's a gourmet grind from DiscountCoffee.com. Enjoy coffee house blends that can't be found in stores. And don't be fooled by coffee services that lock you into paying more over time. DiscountCoffee.com has the very same coffee brands and supplies for less shipped directly to your door. Plus, save 15% off your order with the promo code RightMind. That's DiscountCoffee.com.
I'm Missouri Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. Buy Missouri promotes hundreds of businesses that manufacture quality products right here in Missouri. Visit buymissouri.net to find Missouri-made products, manufacturers, and retailers near you. Shop local every day, but especially during Buy Missouri Week, October 14th through the 21st. Together, we can support Missouri businesses and grow our state's economy. Visit buymissouri.net and follow @BuyMissouri on social media for more information.
Brought to you by the Missouri Lieutenant Governor's Office.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peter's. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Missouri Broadcasters Association Air Talent of the Year. This is the Vic Porcelli Show.
And welcome to it. I'm 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That's Ken Williams, the guy who won the award you just heard about.
And you, Vic.
Drew Thomas Allen comes by at 1041 today. Israel is going about this exactly the way Israel goes about things, and that's to form an elite group of commandos to go kill Hamas. And I'm sorry if I sound like Mr. Want Murder, but I do. I want murder of Hamas, every single one of them.
I agree with you, and this is the way it works every single time. Hamas murders Israelis. They retreat. Then the Israelis say, we're going to get rid of Hamas. They go in, and then everybody says, oh, no, peace, peace.
Nope. Sorry,
Not this time.
Peace, not this time. We're going to hear what a wonderful woman that Sheila Jackson Lee is. She's just a wonder to work for. And right now, we're going to talk about the Starbucks union siding with Hamas. My God. We were going to talk about this the other day, last week. Mark Mix, president of the Right to Work Foundation, but Mark was too busy playing Buck with Fat Albert and couldn't join us.
Vic, I'm going to send you a new copy of Bill Cosby is a very funny fellow from 1969.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
That's okay. Just don't hit me in the face with a slush ball like Junior Barnes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
It goes down to your 5 pair corduroy or 4.
Oh my God! Yes,
I
5 pair corduroy. Oh my God! You know, Bill
All
Cosby turned out to be a scumbag. He was pretty funny guy. All right, so first of all, the baristas at Starbucks unionize, right? When that happened, we all said, oh, what could possibly go wrong? And now we're learning what could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, Vic, it's interesting. First of all, very few of them have unionized. Starbucks has over 16,000 stores in the United States, over 9,500 corporate stores. And the unions are, at this point, saying they've got about 340 units that they've won elections. I don't think they've got a first contract yet, but they've won elections at 340. They've lost elections, and I think around 70, and they've withdrawn from 40. So it's a story that is out of all proportion to the numbers. But it goes back to the question, Vic, you and Ken and I have talked about over the years, and that is the union forcing people to associate with them and then being so callous about their forced unionism powers that they start talking about things that have nothing to do with the workplace. And here's another example of it. This is the Starbucks Workers Union that is an affiliate of the Service Employees International Union, which is a big union based here in Washington, D.C. That's the back office operation for this union that's representing baristas. And they're out there talking about, foreign policy and politics like this. And certainly there's no question the story of Israel and Hamas is leading the news, but I don't know what it's doing in the workplace and what it has to do with bargaining contracts for coffee makers.
This is the thing, too. And this is why I like the Right to Work Foundation committee. Exactly what you said, Mark. Somebody who is a barista who works at Starbucks at one of these union shops whose union is supporting Hamas. And if they don't support Hamas, then people think you do support Hamas. And that's not fair to that individual barista.
Yeah, that's right. And Vic, we've got another case that's up in New York right now at the City University of New York on behalf of 5 Jewish professors that teach at the university that are subjected to associate themselves with a union there that has come out and called for the elimination of Israel and basically is attacked everything about their culture, their religion, their homeland, whatever it is. And this has nothing to do with what's going on at the university, what they're teaching. Well, it may go on with something they're teaching. We don't know that, but it's likely it is, unfortunately, now that I think about that for a minute. But the bottom line is this, they're forced to associate. And to your point, I mean, with these coffee baristas, if they want to associate with you, that's one thing. But I don't know if they're buying into the politics. And I think, Starbucks has basically told the union to say, stop using our logo. They created a Starbucks United logo, and they pushed this Hamas statement out over that. And so Starbucks has threatened some litigation over that. But here it is. You've got this organization, or this small group of people that claim to speak for all of the people they allegedly represent, and they talk about politics instead of workplace issues.
So, Mark, pardon my ignorance here. University professors are unionized?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, Vic. I mean, I didn't mean to shock you this morning. I shock you and Ken, but yeah. No.
That's so
In
crazy.
fact, the United Auto Workers Union strike, it's interesting when you look at the UAW strike, and obviously Missouri's had an impact with the Wentzville facility, but I think a larger proportion of UAW members are actually graduate assistants and academics than are auto workers, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Mark, what I noticed and I thought was a little interesting about this happening with the workers of Starbucks being unionized, they thought, well, we're going to put our big boy pants on and we're going to really compete against the ownership of Starbucks. But then when they did this thing with Hamas, Starbucks started suing people, and they said, oh, well, I guess we are the big boys now. I guess we can be sued as well. I mean, didn't they do that? Didn't Starbucks sue them for something?
Yeah, Ken, I don't know if they actually filed a lawsuit. They threatened it because there was a trademark violation. I think they were using a logo that was very similar to Starbucks' logo when they were pushing out this union message. And I don't know whether it actually consummated in an actual lawsuit, but there was certainly a threat of that. And, the union officials, not necessarily the rank and file workers or the baristas, but the union officials are challenging, this company that just 4 years ago was voted the most progressive company in America, the best company in America to work for. And all of a sudden, once the union steps in, decides they want to organize people and force them to pay dues or fees and associate with them, all of a sudden, Starbucks is this capitalist, greedy corporation. And the fact is, they just don't square, except for the rhetoric of the moment where union officials are trying to find a revenue stream from coffee baristas.
They're kind of cannibalizing themselves.
Yeah, indeed.
So, Mark, do we know Starbucks Corporation, right? The company, where they stand on this, Israel, Hamas, or we don't
Well,
know?
I think they put out a statement saying that they don't agree at all with the union's use of this particular platform to put out these messages, and they back off. And as Ken mentioned, they threaten lawsuits. Whether they filed one or not, I don't know. But the bottom line is they actually walked it back and said you can't speak and represent yourself as being us. And I think they did put out a statement. Starbucks did, and they strongly condemn the anti-Semitism of the union officials.
Okay, so here's what bothers me, Mark. A Jewish person, right, man or woman, walks into a Starbucks. You don't know when you walk into a Starbucks if they're one of the union stores or not, right? So if you walk in there to get a cup of coffee and it is one of the union shops, and you're getting a cup of coffee from somebody who wishes you were dead.
Yeah, that is concerning, and we do see those stories, and fortunately, they're not a large number of them. But the stories where people in that service business like that tend to take out their frustrations and their positions on people that may be the customers, and that would be really unfortunate. And again, why in the world does the union need to take a position on what's happening in the Middle East when they should be trying to negotiate a contract and making good on the promises they promise these people to vote for them? And, Vic, that's another issue. We've got 8 Starbucks units from across the country that are trying to get rid of the union as opposed to trying to find a way to be unionized, because all the promises that the union officials made at the front end of the election just haven't come true. And frankly, the other part of that story is the Service Employees International Union spent about $2.5 million to hire what they call union salts. These are people that are employees of the union, getting paid by the union, agents of the union, that their primary mission is to go get a job at a Starbucks, agitate for unionization, and once they win the election, they move on to another unit. We had someone testify in Congress about that. They were paid $50,000 by the union to go in and organize the first Starbucks up in Western New York, up in Buffalo, and then she moved on, and she never told Congress when she was testifying about how outrageous the workplace was. She never said that she was being paid by the union to do this job.
Right. So I guess my question is, because I really think that I guess, so let me get back to my question because I can't figure out what I want to say here. How do you know what store is a union store and what store's not a union store? I mean, if I were a Jew right now, first of all, if I were a Jew, I wouldn't go to Starbucks at all. I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts, which is better coffee anyway. But I don't want to go in and support and financially support somebody who wants to wipe out Israel. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, well, first of all, Vic, as I mentioned, I mean, it's basically between 1% and 2% of the stores that have Starbucks logos out front are unionized, or at this point have elected to be unionized and are negotiating contracts. So obviously, that's not the primary, that's not the only thing that would symbol or signal there might be a problem. But the bottom line is this: it's 1% to 2% of the Starbucks stores. And again, Starbucks has pushed back dramatically against it, against the statement by the union, and they continue to try to help their employees, focus on the workplace and how to make the place a better place to work and a place that's profitable not only for the company but for the employees as well. So I don't think you can know. Vic, I can probably tell you. I can do some research if you want to talk offline. I can give you a hint because they have to file petitions with the National Labor Relations Board. That's sometimes kind of hard to look up. But yeah, it's between 1% and 2% of the stores right now that are in that situation. Obviously, other stores are working that way. But then again, there are stores that are trying to decertify the union because these baristas have decided that what the union said and what they're doing are completely opposite things. And then, of course, if you're a Jewish barista and you see
no kidding,
you're associated with the union. Yeah,
no kidding. So my first concern is the St. Louis metropolitan area. I mean, I know people listen to us, all over the country, but we are based in St. Louis here. So, when we're done, if you want to shoot Ken a message on if any stores in the St. Louis area are unionized, and we'll just tell our Jewish listeners not to go there. I mean,
yeah,
and also,
or at least alert them to it.
Well, right, make your own decision. But why would they? Ken? Why would you buy coffee from me if I wished you were dead?
I agree with you, Vic. But right now in New York, you've got people who are Jewish who are actually protesting against other Jews, saying that Hamas is fine. You need to stop hurting the Palestinians.
And they vote for Democrats, which
is crazy. Yeah.
So it's not just stores either, because this is why I think in a lawsuit, Starbucks really has to, bring out the big guns, because if you go to a supermarket, Deerberg's here in St. Louis, there's every kind of Starbucks coffee you can get in K-cups, you can get it in ground coffee, you can get it in beans. I mean, if that's going to hurt the sales of Starbucks and they are supporting Israel, then I don't think that's fair either, and that should be part of the lawsuit.
Well, that's right. And obviously Starbucks has their own legal department, and they're probably weighing any options they may have. But they did strongly condemn the union's statement, quote unquote, using the Starbucks Workers United Union as the platform for that. And I again, to Ken's point, I'm not sure whether or not there's actual litigation, but yeah, certainly making them aware and putting out a strong statement, opposing what the union did, quote, on behalf, I'm using my finger quotes here, Vic, on behalf of Starbucks employees. The union does that stuff all the time, and they need to get called out about it. And they don't think people will, because most of corporate America's, they're trying to solve problems and they're kind of afraid, and they don't take difficult stands that most consumers would like them to take, I think. I mean, you saw that with other companies like Target and others that were doing things that, all of a sudden people realized what was going on and saying, hey, I don't need to shop there anymore. And that changes the behavior of companies for sure.
And getting back to, why right to work even exists. If a Jewish barista has to go to work at a union shop where that union supports Hamas over Israel, that's why right to work is there to begin with, right?
That's exactly right. And that's the simple concept of right to work. We try to protect your ability to maintain your political, religious, philosophical rights, as opposed to the conflict between your workplace rights. When you're forced to associate with a private organization that can speak for you, in the public domain and say, we represent these workers and this is a position that we take. I mean, that's outrageous. And the compulsion and the force that comes from not only taking away your right to speak for yourself and associate with who you choose to associate with, then to add insult to injury, in 23 states like Missouri, you can be forced to pay for that forced
Oh, my God. All right.
That's why it's ridiculous.
So we have a listener who wants to chime in here. His name is Sean. He's a great patriot. He's a veteran. He gets involved in elections here locally. Sean, good morning. You got about a minute. Make it count.
Hey, good morning, Vic. Just a heads up, that Starbucks right there at Hampton and 40 just unionized about 8 months ago.
Wow. Hampton and
I saw
40.
all the little rainbow-haired leftists out there with their signs from the We Want Better Wages for doing nothing. So, yeah.
All right. Well, maybe here's what we're going to do, Sean. Thanks for calling, by the way. I appreciate it. Have
Thanks,
a great
Sean.
day.
No worries, bud. Bye.
Here's what we should do. We should call the Starbucks at Hampton and 40 and say, hi, are you unionized? Are you for Hamas? I'm never coming there. We should everybody should call there just to say that. Don't even step in. All right, Mark, we got to run. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for not stiffing us today and playing buck with Fat Albert. We appreciate that.
All right, Vic. But sorry, Ken. Sorry, Vic. I apologize. I'll get that album out to you right away.
If you weren't a good friend, we wouldn't give you crap about it. Right?
Thanks. All right.
Mark Mix, president of the National Right to Work Committee. And I love that he loves Bill Cosby.
I know. It's great.
A buck. Hey. Drew Thomas Allen comes by at 10:41 today. The Israel Commandos are starting to get together. That's all coming up next hour. Let's take 5 minutes out for news with townhall.com, and then we're back on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Whoosh.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
Get ready for winter by making sure your family is warm and safe when the bone-chilling weather gets here. Mike Ferguson here for Anton's Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Energy Experts. Call them today to get your furnace tune-up. It's only $89, and it could save you hundreds or even thousands by preventing a breakdown. 314-338-3941 or antonshvac.com. Anton's installed our HVAC system, and we love it. Put their expertise and excellent customer service to work for you, just like they did for my house. antonshvac.com.
This is Diana with Newstalk's Fine Jewelry. This year, we're celebrating 50 years in business. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives for over half a century. It's because of you that our small family business thrives in St. Louis. From our family to yours, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newstalk's Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newstalk's, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Columbo and Katie.
A CNN poll that was just released this week shows that 49% of Americans flag Joe Biden's age as their biggest concern.
I believe that these instances are more sounding the alarm on the Democrat side to step up to the plate and run against Biden. Someone needs to run against him from our party so that we understand you exist and we understand the battle.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is Newstalk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
I'm Rich Thomason. Amid reports the Biden administration has been pressuring Israel to delay a Gaza ground offensive, Israel continues hammering Gaza terror targets from the air. There were over hundreds of airstrikes overnight. And the administration claims it's working tirelessly to locate and free American hostages in Gaza as Hamas continues releasing captives just one or two at a time.
The National Security Council's John Kirby says the Biden administration is focused on the roughly 10 unaccounted for Americans.
It is literally an hour-by-hour effort here at the White House and at the State Department to find out where these folks are.
Last week, an American mother and her daughter were released by Hamas, thanks in part to involvement from the Israeli and Qatari governments.
And that's White House correspondent Greg Clugston. Holding out the hope of a brighter future for the country, former President Trump has signed up for the New Hampshire presidential primary.
Trump is the first person who has served as president to file paperwork in New Hampshire in person more than once. All candidates are asked to write a message to voters in New Hampshire.
I'll say a simple message. Vote for Trump and solve your problems.
Trump won the GOP primaries in New Hampshire in 2016 and 2020, but lost in both general elections. He talked about high prices and inflation.
We'll get it all straightened out, and we'll get it done quickly.
I'm Ed Donahue.
At least 7 people killed in a massive vehicle pileup along I-55 near New Orleans. Smoke from marsh fires and dense fog cut visibility. Crash involved 158 vehicles. Georgia's abortion law, banning most abortions once a detectable human heartbeat is present, remains in effect following a ruling by the state Supreme Court. Rally underway this morning on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up 266 points, the Nasdaq ahead 118, and the S&P trading 32 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that sitting America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, and evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. Because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word faith to 989898 and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
The leaders of 3 opposition.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 meteorologist Leah Hill. Going to be a bit of a dreary day as we have increasing cloud cover and a few spot showers are possible. Temperatures will still rise to near 80 degrees and we'll start to see those rain chances increasing overnight to about 30%. Overnight lows reaching 66 and then tomorrow upper 70s, lower 80s. In fact, we're entering this stretch of unsettled weather that will last through Monday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, welcome home. Welcome back to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is Ken Williams over there. Sorry, I was just distracted by a banner on the television. The 2 old women, Israeli women that they let go, that Hamas let go,
right?
They hurt them. They injured them. 179, Ken, one's 82. And they were punching and hitting these women.
Yeah, and originally when they were in custody still with them, they made them say that they were just great to them. They treated them well. They fed them. They gave them water. And then everybody says, see, this is how Hamas really is.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? What else are they going to say when they're in custody with these people?
Right, exactly right. Okay, Drew Thomas Allen. Let's see what he has to say about some of this stuff, too, the Hamas situation. Because where were, Ken?
Yeah, Vic.
Where were the cries for ceasefire on October 7th?
Exactly.
Why wasn't Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar calling for a ceasefire now? Why wasn't Ilhan Omar at that time saying, how many more people do you want to kill? 1,000? 2,000? Well, they got 1,400. Elon, you happy?
But any of these pleas that the squad and all these different anti-Semites, these racists have, they never mention one thing: is where are the captives? Where are the hostages? Bring the hostages back. Tell them to let go of all the hostages, and all this will stop for a moment.
Yep.
But they won't do it.
It really, really makes me angry. More than angry. It makes me incensed that they behave like this. Oh, you know what? I was looking at the wrong thing, I think. Okay, so Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
She is, I'm not sure if it's the Judiciary Committee or the Oversight Committee, but she's on one of those committees. And, you know, when she speaks and asks the witnesses questions, you can get a sense of how mean she can be, right? But the left tries to make her be, oh, Representative Jackson Lee. Oh, God, we love you. You're so nice and so kind. Be glad you don't work for her, okay? Somebody, first of all, they voted her the meanest representative in Congress.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
And then audio was leaked of how she speaks to her staff. Listen to this.
You took a piece of paper from that woman regarding something that was over at Duncanville. Where is it? What date was it?
Oh, from yesterday. Jerome took it upstairs. I have to call him. He took it up when I switched out the picture. I'll call him as soon as you get there.
I don't want you to do a damn thing. I want you to have a fucking brain. I want you to have read it. I want you to say, Congresswoman, it was such and such date. That's what I want. That's the kind of staff that I want to have. So some stupid other motherfucker did it, and I don't have the information. Nobody sent me the information. I need to ensure my schedule. And, you know, if Boo-Boo did it, Shaft did it, Space did it, and nobody knows a damn thing in my office. Okay? Nothing. I gave it to you. Your job was to get it on the calendar, imprint it in your brain, or send me the information back saying, Congresswoman, I made sure that the Ovi Duncanville event that you gave me for so-and-so date at 7 is on the fucking calendar. Not to, oh, Jerome has it. Okay? So when I called Jerome, he's going to be sitting up there like a fat-ass idiot talking about what he doesn't know. Okay? Both of y'all are up the It's the worst that I could have ever had put together.
Wow.
Two damn big ass children. An idiot. Serve no damn. Ain't managing nobody. Nobody's respecting them. Nobody gives a shit about what you're doing. And you ain't doing it. And this is an example of it. I gave it to Jerome. This is not child work. Okay?
I went through this audio.
Yeah.
5, maybe 6 times.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I am stunned that she is that mean and that stuffy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
So sorry.
I could have played that 25 times.
Right. It was 25 edits in that?
There were close to maybe 15, I think.
Wow. And, you know, so I guess maybe what's going to happen? I mean, she's freedom of speech. You know, you can't, what are you going to do? You're mean. You can't say you're mean.
It's not the profanity. You and I do this stuff. It's like drinking water to us.
Yep.
I mean, it's how you direct it, who you're directing it to, what position you are carrying toward another person when you're saying that. And she is completely out of line doing this.
So I guess my point is they talk about Trump, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how off the cuff he was, and, you know, flying off the handle. Is that flying off the handle what we just heard? I think pretty much it was.
It really was, Vic. Here's where I come from on this. And this is, I understand the sympathy of what she's saying, that you have got to get this job done correctly. We go through this every single day. I do this to myself mentally. If I screw something up, it's going to stay with me a couple days. You've got to get it right, especially in the job we're in.
Well,
and in the job she is in as a leader, I get that it has to get done right. But there are 5 other ways that you could do it than treating your people that way.
Nobody screws up more than me. Okay. And, you know, Ken is like, okay, look, let's do it this way, not this way. Okay. It's a very low key conversation that you and I have all the time about.
You just said
show.
it to me yesterday.
What I say?
We had a thing, and I didn't do it the way it was supposed to be exactly. And you said, can we get it right on to this point? And I said, sure, absolutely. I think you're exactly right on that.
Right.
And it was over. It was completely over, and it'll work. But that's the way you talk with each other.
There's an accountability factor in every job that you have. Okay. And clearly Congress and the Senate have no accountability factor at all. I mean everybody in Congress. But in this job, in this show specifically, Ken and I are accountable to each other.
Absolutely.
Am I close on that?
And and both of us are accountable to the listener.
Exactly right. Okay. Did we make our point on that?
We did, but there was something you mentioned about Trump that I really want to take home a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he is always being demonized by his verbiage, how he treats people. Right. And you know what? We find out after the fact, we always find out how well he treated people.
That's right.
And how they turned out to be bad to him.
Yeah.
This is exactly an example of what they say Trump did,
That's right,
but
Ken.
she's doing
You're
it.
right. Absolutely right. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Next topic.
Can
you
I
know
do
what?
this for a second?
Yeah. You want?
I have a theory.
Oh.
People talk loud when they want to act smart, right? Correct.
I just had to do that. It's new. I just had to do it.
Plankton is my absolute favorite character on SpongeBob. Oh, by the way, do you know that today's Tuesday? I have my weekly performance review.
Something must be wrong.
We were talking about Plankton. That's what goes on in the show prep of this show. We talk about SpongeBob characters. And then I said to Ken, I said, what was Plankton's wife's name? I can't remember. You said something.
Shirley or
I said Ellen. Her name is Karen.
Karen.
Perfect.
Karen.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So here's another thing I want to say.
Yeah.
I am sick and tired of people getting on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay.
Yeah.
She does things her way. Okay. Everybody does things differently. Okay. She brought those pictures of Hunter Biden to a congressional hearing. Remember that?
Yeah.
And, they got on her for that. They think she's an idiot because she's from Georgia, which is another reason why.
That's a racist type of attitude to have.
Of course it is. So she's from Georgia. And, people say she's an idiot because she's from Georgia. But Georgia went and elected 2 Democrat senators. That will never sit with me ever, ever.
No.
Never sit with me, right, ever. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene also came up with the idea of a national divorce, which you can't do. I get it. You have to have borders.
You have to.
Donald Trump said, you don't have borders, you don't have a country. However, I think what Marjorie Taylor Greene is really trying to say in her national divorce thing is that if you are a conservative, you don't have to suffer consequences made by stupid ass liberals. I just don't think you do.
But unfortunately, you do, because look what we're going through with the Biden administration. We are suffering because of his decisions.
That's exactly what she means.
Right.
We're paying over $3 for gas. Why? Because of Biden's policies? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he doesn't want, if you don't want the pipeline, our side will take it. If you don't want drilling in Anwar, our side will take it. We'll pay $1.88, and you idiots can go pay $3 a gallon.
And then we always go back to elections have consequences. And in our case, elections stolen have consequences.
So, Ken, elections have consequences, right?
Right.
Anybody, I'm sorry, I hate to be elitist or however I'm being right now. If you, whether you are a conservative like Ken and I, or if you are a liberal and you still vote for Joe Biden or any Democrat at this point, then you made your bed and you lie in it. Because if you don't think that elections have consequences, you just go ahead and keep voting for these liberals, keep voting in Democrat mayors here in St. Louis, and watch this town turn into a complete hole.
And it's true. It's true. They'll do it again. This town has lost so many people. They've actually we have less people in the downtown St. Louis area than Wichita, Kansas.
That's right.
Are you kidding me?
That's
we have
absolutely
actually
right.
broken 300,000, gone below that for the first time in modern history.
Okay, so now here's Marjorie Taylor Greene's latest situation. You're going to love this. Well, you're going to love what I say. Marjorie Taylor Greene is introducing a resolution today to censure Representative Rashida Tlaib, accusing the Progressive Squad member of anti-Semitic activity and sympathizing with terrorist organizations. Here's her quote. The Democrat Party has done nothing to hold her accountable. They have done nothing to rein her in, and no one else here has done it. And so I thought it was right to just list examples of, this isn't just new, this isn't just a one-off thing, this is exactly who she is. So she accused Tlaib of leading a pro-Palestinian protest on Capitol Hill last week. This is the part you're going to love. So Rashida Tlaib spoke to a rally in front of the Capitol, and then those people went into the Capitol building, insurrection-like.
Insurrection, as they would have called it on J6.
So, if they said that Donald Trump incited violence and incited a riot on January 6th, how is this not inciting violence and inciting a riot? What she did.
Exactly right.
Exact same thing.
Exactly. Well, no, I would actually argue, Vic, that that was worse. What Rashida Tlaib did, it was actually inciting violence, because what she said was inciting violence. What Trump said was peacefully protest.
You're right.
So it's not the same. She's worse.
She's worse. And somehow a liberal can't make that association in their head.
It's TDS that gets in there.
Donald Trump is so terrible. He incited a riot. Okay, I want you to peacefully and patriotically go down and speak your mind. He didn't even say protest. He didn't even say the word protest, by the way. He said speak your mind or whatever he said.
But that's a dog whistle.
But he didn't say, protest. Right?
Right.
She calls Hamas the victims here. She is calling a terrorist organization victims. She thinks that the 1,400 people that Hamas killed in Israel are pigs and don't deserve to live.
I wish I could find this real quick, because when we had that recording of her talking.
I can't even hear her voice anymore, but go ahead.
But in it, she said things like, you will pay a price. Now, to me,
it's violent talk.
That's violent. That's dog whistle.
Yep.
That is dog whistle.
Yep.
When you say something like, you will pay a price. What price is that, Rashida Tlaib? What price, and who's going to pay this price? Just like Chuck Schumer on the floor of on the steps of the Supreme Court saying, you will reap the whirlwind. What whirlwind? They're not elected. There's nothing.
Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Gorsuch, that one. There's a whirlwind, and you are going to pay the price.
Damn, that was pretty good.
Thank you very much.
But that
Tony
one,
will
Vic,
say no. But go ahead. What?
That one, Vic.
Yep.
Exactly that.
That was inciting violence.
Absolutely. Those Supreme Court justices that he was talking about, they are not elected. It's not like they're going to pay the price of elections.
Right.
Okay. What was he talking about? No one held his feet to the fire on that.
So I'm not the first person to make this analogy, but the kind of talk that comes out of Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and AOC is very similar, if not the same, to the attitudes in the 1930s and 40s by the Nazis against the same people, the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when I tell you to go watch something, I mean it. Okay. How many times have I said in the last 2 weeks to go watch the movie Munich? Right.
Oh yeah, at least 4 or 5 times.
We're going to get into that in a second. But I also told you I watched the show at the behest, by the way, of Joe Rush here at the station. It's called The Man in the High Castle. And the premise behind this show is, in the 1940s, the U.S. didn't win the war. And Japan and Germany won the war. And they now control the United States. So if you lived in the United States under this scenario, you were under either German rule if you're on the East Coast, or Japanese rule if you're on the West Coast.
So this is The Man in the High Castle?
The Man in the High Castle.
Okay.
I think it's on Paramount. Nope. It's on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll look it up.
So, but listen, there's one scene where it's a classroom, and the kids had a reading assignment, right? And the teacher was reading some of the lines, and it said that, the people, their feelings, or the humanness of somebody. And one of the kids stood up and said, well, I don't think we should be able to read, we should have to read this because this author is making the Jews sound like they're human. They're not human, they're subhuman. Why do we have to read this? That was a kid.
Well,
that was indoctrinated by Nazi thinking, right?
Right.
That Jews don't even deserve to exist, Ken. That's what Rashida Tlaib is talking about.
Right.
That's what Ilhan Omar is talking about.
Yes.
That Jews do not have the right to even live. By the way, the synagogue president in Detroit that was stabbed to death, right? We talked about this with Nick, I guess, but I'd like to bring it up again if you don't mind.
Sure.
They said already, and the media was the first to say this doesn't look like an anti-Semitic attack. She was Jewish, but it's not an anti-Semitic attack. So I was like, why don't we let the police decide whether it was an anti-Semitic attack? So the police have decided it's not an anti-Semitic attack, but yet they have no suspect. They don't even have a person of interest. And they don't even know who it is. How can they make a determination whether it was a hate crime or anti-Semitic if you don't even know who did it?
I don't see how they can.
My God, I can't.
But you know what? It's the same thing. It's the same thing when Hamas immediately said that the Israelis bombed that hospital and 500 people were dead. They knew that. They derived that and within minutes of it happening.
Somehow they investigated and counted up all the bodies in 5 minutes and said 500 people were dead.
Yeah.
It just gets me crazy. So getting back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ken, I don't know. Again, pardon my ignorance on this. I don't know if the censorship can happen without an actual Speaker of the House or not. Do you?
I don't know if they can or not. I know we have that interim speaker.
Yeah, I don't think he can. Pro temp. No,
I don't think he can do any of that.
That's Patrick McHenry, by the way.
McHenry, yes, it is.
Give me liberty or go yourself. So anyway,
she needs at least censorship. I just don't see how this person, who doesn't even have the American flag at her office, she has the Palestinian flag. She has the LGBTQ flag.
Oh, wait a minute now.
Two of them.
Isn't that a conflict of interest right there?
You would think.
The LGBTQ flag and the Palestinian flag. Babylon Bee had an article where the Palestinian flag throws the LGBT flag off a roof.
And which you've said from the very beginning.
I can't anymore. Right?
No, you can't.
No, I can't.
No, you can't.
Okay. She needs to be removed,
I just don't think she should be representing Americans in any way, shape, or form. I just don't think so.
Listen, if you're Jewish, you know how Ken and I feel about Jewish people, right? Our shining light is Karen Cataline every Thursday morning, right? And hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to wish right there. If you're Jewish, please don't vote for Democrats. Please. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense.
Whoosh.
Whatsoever. All right. So the Israelis are indeed assembling a elite
Whoosh.
group of commandos to track down Hamas. That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Whoosh.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
How dare you!
The Vic Porcelli Show. This Dr. Randy Tobler segment is brought to you by Advanced Dentistry Now. Doctors Dan Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer, 636-978-0226, or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Kids don't always like to get school report cards, but they are important and helpful. They document subjects where they're strong and others where they need to show some improvement. Ever wonder why you don't get a report on how your child's school compares to others? At the Show Me Institute, we think you should, and that's why we've started the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org, and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on several categories, such as student performance in English, language arts, and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district will have a grade, and the website is easy to use. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Now you can. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
This is the perfect time to upgrade your home. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. Their number is 314-993-1800. Improve your home with Window World's double-strength glass windows. Those come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. 314-993-1800. Get a free in-home estimate. Window World is the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. 314-993-1800 or windowworld.com.
NewstalkSTL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
I'm Dr. Bob Onder. What's wrong with education in Missouri? Recent data show that fewer and fewer children are proficient at reading and math. This year, ACT scores are at a 6-year low, and that's among kids planning to go to college. So why? If you ask teachers' unions, it's that public schools need more money. But in Missouri, education funding has gone up every year for at least a decade. There are a number of reasons for education failure. The dramatic increase in education bureaucrats is at least part of the problem. Since 2000, there has been a 7% increase in students, 8% increase in teachers, but a 93% increase in administrators. These administrators make rules. They use release time to do union business. They promote left-wing policies like DEI, CRT, and gender ideology that poison our kids' minds and have nothing to do with real education. We need to rid our schools of worthless bureaucracy, focused on basics like reading and math, and not woke ideology. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com.
It's Katie reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at NewstalkSTL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at NewstalkSTL.com or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Now go home and get your shine box.
On NewstalkSTL.
When I was a kid, my father used to say, our greatest hopes and our worst fears are seldom realized. Our worst fears have been realized tonight. They've now said that there were 11 hostages. 2 were killed in their rooms yesterday morning. 9 were killed at the airport tonight. They're all gone.
Wow. That was Jim McKay from ABC Sports, who was anchoring just that situation at the Munich Games in 1972 when Arab terrorists invaded the Olympic Village. They took 11 Israeli athletes hostage. They killed 2 right away. One was a coach. And then they killed the rest of them outside the village in a helicopter. It's an awful, awful scene. And Ken, I have said to you so many times how much I love the Olympics, right?
Yeah, you're sort of a savant in the dates and locations of each one.
Definitely love it. Love the Olympics. Yeah. 1912, Stockholm, Jim Thorpe. Anyway, I always loved the Olympics. There was something about the Olympics that's different than any other sporting event, because it's countries coming together. Only 3 times in history were they canceled. 1916 for World War I, 1940 and 44 for World War II. There were no Olympics those years. The world was at war, you know?
Right.
And the Olympics were also, you know, there were some Cuban athletes who defected to America because they didn't want to live under communist rule.
Yeah.
Right. So the Olympics are good all the way around, except this one terrible, tragic event in 1972. Now, 1972 was the year that Mark Spitz, a Jew, by the way, who won all those gold medals. Remember the picture of him on Sports Illustrated with all the medals around him, and they were all like 8 or 9 of them, you know? You gonna say something?
No, I was going to say that he was on the cover of my Wheaties box when I was a kid.
The Wheaties box, yes.
With all of his medals.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
You're right. So that was that year. It was also the year that the United States basketball team lost their first game ever in the Olympics in the finals against Russia, in a game that was marred with controversy, time put back on the clock. I mean, it just looked like a rigged game all the way around.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this terrible event where Arab terrorists murdered 11 Israeli athletes. So I bring up the movie Munich all the time to you guys, and I'd like you to watch it, especially now with what's happening, because right now Israel is assembling a elite unit to hunt down and kill Hamas leaders. I'm all for it.
Totally for it. And it's time that they do a strategic surgical attack like this. I think they need to do this instead of, and I think what will happen here is it will save the lives of some more innocents of Palestinians. I think it will help.
And if you're listening to the show today, which has been a little bit fierce, and you say, Vic, I can't believe you're condoning death and murder. Yeah, I am. Okay. Too bad. You don't like it?
Sorry. I mean, it's what they've done to people.
And that's the only way to stop it, Ken.
It's the only way
is
you can.
To eliminate Hamas, eliminate people who think Israel does not have a right to exist. Who the hell are you to say that a country does not have a right to exist?
And
You're the ones who don't have a right to exist. Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran and PLO. Remember PLO, Palestinian Liberation Army?
Yes.
Oh, they were a fine bunch of fellows, weren't they?
Yeah. You know what makes me disgusted the most? And the fact that around this nation, in the United States and major cities in this country, they're having those massive supports of parades of Hamas in support of Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
And around the world. I mean, did you see France? I didn't know there were that many people in France, let alone Palestinian supporters.
And, we just talked to Mark Mix about how the Starbucks union supports Hamas, some of them,
Yeah.
So I feel a little vindicated today because Red State has an article written by Jeff Charles talking about this elite group of commandos who are going to go out and kill Hamas leaders. He says the initiative is reminiscent of Operation Wrath of God, a covert assassination campaign Israel carried out in response to the kidnapping and murder of 11 Israeli athletes by Palestinian extremists in 1972. A secret Israeli committee chaired by Prime Minister Golda Meir, who was she was the Benjamin Netanyahu of the time. She was the prime minister, and Defense Minister Moshe Dayan. So if you are my age, Moshe Dayan was the guy who had the eye patch that he didn't go straight across his head. It went like on an angle. It almost looked like he was wearing a beret, but it was an eye patch because he lost an eye in battle. Is said to have authorized the assassination of everyone directly or indirectly involved with Black September, the Fatah-affiliated group that had orchestrated the Munich killings. The Wrath of God hit squad, codenamed Bayonet, was made up of members of Mossad, Israel's foreign intelligence agency, and supported by Special Operations Team from the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, who we're hearing plenty about in the IDF. The group spent years tracking down and killing those suspected of planning or participating in the Munich massacre. It took years, and they didn't stop. They didn't quit. They didn't get them all, but they got almost every one of the Palestinian terrorists that you saw at Munich.
I was going to ask you how long it took them.
Years.
And they didn't let up until they could. I mean, I don't know. Why didn't they get the last?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you watch the movie, the answer is there because they do mention in the movie. that they didn't get him. He might have died already on his own.
Yeah.
Or, the other night, I told you this, Sunday night, I was just done with Fox News, and I put on Newsmax, and it was the Huckabee Show. Remember I told you to watch the Huckabee Show? Because you brought up Brandon Straka, because Brandon Straka was on the Huckabee Show that night. And then the show right after it was a documentary on the trials of Adolf Eichmann, Joseph Mengele, Heimlich Himmler, and another guy. By the way, Joseph Mengele, who was the angel of death, who conducted experiments on kids, Jewish kids in the camps, they never caught him. He lived under an assumed name in was
it Argentina?
Argentina, thank you. And he under an assumed name, and somebody found out the assumed name and found the grave, and they ID'd this guy in the grave as Joseph Mengele. So he died a natural death. Unfortunately, he wasn't hung.
Wow.
Like some of the other guys were. And by the way, Hunters is another great movie you should watch, because Joseph Mengele went to Argentina and lived under an assumed name. And I can't tell you anything without spoiling it, but what?
Is it Al Pacino in that movie?
Yes, he is.
I think I started to watch that, and I had, of course, something else I had to do.
Yeah,
so I
I
didn't
hear you.
finish it. But.
He's great, by the way. His acting is just unbelievable in that. So anyway, I feel a little vindicated because I know I've bemoaned this 1972 thing, but it affected me. And I want you to play that that piece again that we started with Jim McKay, because I was, 58, 68, I was 10. So I was like 12 or 13 when this happened. Again, a kid who was an Olympic freak at the time. And watch Jim McKay say this.
When I was a kid, my father used to say, our greatest hopes and our worst fears are seldom realized. Our worst fears have been realized tonight. They've now said that there were 11 hostages. 2 were killed in their rooms yesterday morning. 9 were killed at the airport tonight. They're all gone.
And that shook me, Ken. That shook me.
Yeah.
A young kid hearing Jim McKay say they're all gone. I watched the Olympics for basketball, for boxing, for swimming, for track and field, and I had to watch murder instead. So what's going on now, very similar to what happened at the Olympics in 1972,
yes, sir.
Especially the reaction from Israel. So go get them.
Go.
Now. All right. Drew Thomas Allen's going to close us up. He's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. News Talk STL, always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or NewstalkSTL.com.
Tony Colombo here with a great offer from Zero Res. Just mentioned the Colombo special when you book a cleaning in October, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $50 off an air duct cleaning. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and 5,000 Google reviews with an average of 4.9 out of 5 says it all. Zero Res is the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home. Just remember to mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peter's. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Hey, Colombo here, reminding you that cybersecurity has never been more important, so you need to ask yourself, is your business prepared for a possible ransomware attack? And if you have any doubt, you need to call the team at ThrottleNet today. ThrottleNet provides world-class managed IT services and IT support to many local organizations, including my family's own small business. They're St. Louis's highest rated and most reviewed outsourced IT company, and there's many different ways ThrottleNet can help with your business's operation and digital protection. Learn more now at throttlenet.com.
This is Rob with St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, and we'd like to let you know you don't have to maintain the grout in your home anymore. The grout on the floor or in your shower or bath area. How would you like zero grout in your bathroom? At St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, we focus on grout-free options for your bathroom. If you hate cleaning grout, St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, 314-477-6476. 314-477-6476. Give us a call.
Fox News commentary.
The fight for free speech is going all the way to the Supreme Court, and the wardens of big tech and big government ought to be nervous. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Against the big government and big tech collusion efforts to stifle free speech will go all the way to the Supreme Court. Lower courts ruled the Biden administration likely violated the First Amendment by coercing social media companies to reduce or pull content the White House deemed problematic. This content the White House wanted yanked largely centered around COVID, as well as the Hunter Biden laptop story. I know because I was personally a target, with the White House asking Facebook to reduce me or replace me in the algorithm. The Biden administration has been fighting like heck to keep their power to censor Americans, but too bad. The highest court in the land will hear this case, and if justice does still indeed exist in the United States of America, this collusion will be stopped. This nation still protects free speech, and God willing, always will. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
On the next, Larry Connor's USA.
Food and medical aid being delivered to Gaza, and more hostages are being released, but are we really closer to ending this mess?
Larry Connor's USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Hi, it's Dr. Ben Carson, and you're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
Thank you, Dr. Carson. Welcome home to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That's Ken Williams over there. Over my left shoulder is the Trump 2024 MAGA thing. It's too big for a license plate. I think we're going to put it in Ken's truck under the gun rack.
Yeah, let's do that.
Joining us from the West Coast. Whoa, what am I talking about?
Drew Allen of the Drew Allen Show podcast.
It's people who love this country and respect freedom and want to preserve it for the future. You know, it really shouldn't be political.
Amico mio, come stai?
Ciao, buongiorno, Ciccio. Sono molto contento.
So jealous. I'm jealous of anyone that's bilingual, because right away they're twice as smart as I am. Drew Thomas Allen, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm good. It's good to be with you.
How's the baby?
Oh, the baby's awesome. Fantastic. She's precious. She's happy. Happy baby, happy dad and mom.
There you go.
She'll be bilingual, right?
Yeah. She should. Although, you know, I came back from Italy after those 2 weeks and I forgot a lot of English words. I kid you not. I'm sitting there and I can't come up with some obvious word like a spoon or something. Right. And I'm sitting there waiting. My wife has to say, "What's wrong with your brain?" So there's challenges.
Hey, not for nothing. I grew up speaking English in New Jersey, but there are certain words I didn't even know the English word for. When my wife and I started living together, she wanted to make a dinner for me, Italian dinner. I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. So I said, what can I help? I want to, be helpful. Well, how can I help? So she goes, oh, go under there and get me a colander. I was like, okay, colander. I've never heard that word in my life. I don't know what that means. So of course my go-to was, I don't think we have one. So she goes, she says, that's a colander right there. I said, no, it's not. It's a scolabast. So there are certain words that I didn't even know in English. So I get what you're doing. All right. All we've talked about all day today is this Israeli thing. Do you mind if we talk about something else, you and I, for a little while?
Hey, absolutely.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Let's talk about Speaker of the House. We can't get anything done if we have a speaker. And I know it's the process. You got to have the process. I get it. But my God, who's your pick? Byron Donald's your pick?
Yeah, I think so. Of the list, I mean, it's not a very impressive list, in my opinion, apart from him. He is impressive. You know, what I love is the talking points from AOC and the left that are saying, you know, this guy has only been in Congress this long. He hasn't been there long enough to have this kind of responsibility. I think, hey, wait a minute. Wasn't Barack Hussein Obama your messiah?
Yep.
Wasn't he a first-term senator? He didn't even finish his first term before he ran for president. So shut the heck up.
Can I read you a tweet from Drew from October 20th? Obama, the first gay president, didn't finish his first term as a U.S. senator before running for president. So, yeah, okay, you got it.
Amen.
So, all right, so I guess we got to talk about it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I love her. I don't care who hates her. You know, I just don't. She wants to censure Rashida Tlaib. And Ken and I had a little revelation today that what she did at that pro-Palestine rally is the same thing they accused Donald Trump of doing, but he didn't do, and that was inciting violence.
Well, exactly. You know, you don't hear her say peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
No,
she's there inciting the mob that goes into the building there, and they're trying to make a distinction. You know, this was an office building; it wasn't the actual. What does it matter?
Oh.
I mean, you know, January 6th wasn't an insurrection, but if they're going to say it was an insurrection, then what just happened was an insurrection with the Soros-backed mob of anti-Israel, anti-Semitic lunatics. And you're right. I mean, Tlaib has shown no apology, offered no apology for this. She didn't come out and say, you guys should leave the building just like Trump did. I mean, this whole thing is such a farce. It's amazing. The country has been lit on fire over lie after lie after lie. I mean, even whether you get into the Derek Chauvin stuff, my point is whether it's race relations, whether it's, you know, trying to abolish a political party, the Republican Party, and you know, MAGA conservatives, you know, it's all built on a lie, and it's really sick. I mean, what's the difference? And that the left relies on to destroy this country, and that Hamas is dependent upon. I mean, I think we could do. You could do a whole episode just talking about the similarities between Hamas and the Democratic Party.
So, Drew, do you think that in light of what Rashida Tlaib has done, they'll back off on the J6 thing with Donald Trump, or do you think that they're going to continue with Donald Trump? And if they do that with him, then we should go forward full force against Rashida Tlaib. What do you think?
Well, if we were smart, we would go full force and we would make the direct comparison and force them to cede ground and admit that they're a bunch of frauds and liars. But we don't have the guts to do it or any strategy whatsoever. We still live in fear of what CNN's going to say about us. But the Democrats aren't going to back off that narrative at all. I mean, they don't care. These people are shameless. They invent an alternate reality anyway. So they're not going to back off of that ever.
All right. I want to get back to you. By the way, I am right now in the presence of two of the best tweeters on Twitter. Okay. Ken Williams and Drew Thomas Allen, the millennial minister of truth. So I want to read a couple of things. Drew puts up, hands up, don't shoot. Never happened. But the media lied to reinforce their false race narrative. Israel blew up a hospital. Never happened. But the media lied to reinforce their anti-Jew and anti-Israel narrative. And then some scumbag replies to Drew and says, the media is mostly run by Jews, so you're full of it. New York Times owned by Jews since the late 1800s. Almost all major American networks are run by Jews. You're full of it. And then somebody whose handle is Israel says, classic anti-Semitic trope, you racist piece of filth. What do you think, Drew?
Yeah. Well, it's true. I love the idea, too, that just because you're, quote unquote, you know, a Jew, you know, that you therefore can't be anti-Semitic. I mean, you know, there were blacks who had slaves. There are currently Democrats, obviously black Democrats in the Democrat Party who promote, you know, the modern equivalent of slavery, you know, with blacks, you know, keeping them in these school districts that fail them and so on and so forth and depriving them of opportunities. And you have, you know, Jews like Soros who turned in Jews, you know, to the Nazis. So, I mean, it's such a joke.
Jew-hating Jew is what Karen Cataline calls George Soros. We talk to every once in a while, and more recently, more often. Her name is Dr. Rachel Ehrenfeld, and she is an American citizen now. She was born in Israel. She's a Jew. And we brought up all this stuff that Alex Soros, George's son, is worse than George. And So it's never going to end, I guess, is my point, Drew.
No, it's really amazing what one extremely wealthy individual, the great damage they can do to this society. And that, of course, would be George Soros. And Aaron Feld's exactly right. I mean, his son is even worse, and he's taken over the empire. I mean, he's been groomed to do this. And I just don't know what the response is going to be from the right. I mean, I think that in the long term, we have to mount the kind of offensive campaign to meet the Democrats on the battlefield, if you will. We don't see this kind of influx of money. I mean, Republicans, we have people that have money on our side, but they don't really dedicate it like the left does to these causes and so on and so forth. And, money is unfortunately very important. It can fund, for example, a summer of BLM riots if you give it to the right people.
Yep, absolutely right. And when it comes down to, the hospital, right? Let's take the hospital, for example. Ken brought up today that they said that Israel bombed the hospital. Oh, and 500 people were dead 5 minutes after the bomb hit. So somehow they investigated and counted up the bodies and came up with 500. They don't even know how to lie the right way.
Yeah. Well, they're just, again, shameless in their devotion to these narratives. For whatever reason, the left, they hate Jews. And they take the side of the, Hamas terrorists. But, there's a bunch of stories out today. The AP will not allow its reporters to refer to Hamas as a terrorist organization. You have Barack Obama coming to reinforce this false narrative, trying to, blame Israel, of course, for what's going on, and basically suggesting that, well, any future attacks against Israel are going to be Israel's fault because, they've turned off the water, supplies to Hamas. You got a story on CNN they just put out. They devoted a segment to discussing the wonderful conditions that the kidnapped individuals, the hostages, were in the tunnels. They even had access to tampons. It's amazing to watch somebody who, in such an obvious black and white issue here, pretend that Hamas are the good guys and make these efforts to paint the Israelis as barbarians. It makes your stomach churn. But this whole narrative that they're devoted to with Israel, it's the same as critical race theory in the U.S. Here they're trying to teach us that whites are oppressors and blacks are oppressed based on their skin color, and that we're steeped in racism and can't get out of it. And it's the same thing over there. They want to must teach people that the Palestinians they're the rightful individuals who are supposed to have that land, and Israel's the barbarians. It's the same crap.
So you said something interesting there, that was it the AP who said they won't let the reporters say Hamas is a terrorist organization?
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm on the State Department website right now, state.gov, U.S. Department of State. And the page I'm on are foreign terrorist organizations. And listed is Hamas and Hezbollah. So I've been getting on it for a long time, Drew, that the press has their First Amendment, freedom of the press. You don't even have to be accurate. That's how much they're covered by the First Amendment. I get it. I'll die on the hill of the First Amendment. But when you say that Hamas and Hezbollah, which is listed on the State Department website as foreign terrorists, you're lying to the American people and the world. And I don't think it's okay.
No, it's not okay. And you have to, question, why the press is devoted to evil, why they're taking this side. If you remember, I don't remember what year exactly, it was relatively recent, but remember we found out that the AP, Israel had strikes, conducted strikes in the past in Gaza. And I think one of the office buildings was destroyed. And the AP actually had an office adjacent to Hamas. So Hamas had, they both shared, this office building together. So the AP was sitting there working next to Hamas this whole time. So, a question, of course, the cozy relationship and loyalty of the AP when this whole time they sat there next to a terrorist organization and said nothing.
So, Drew, at what point do we call the AP a terrorist organization?
Well, they certainly are sympathetic to the terrorists. They're siding with the terrorists. They are spreading, obviously, Hamas propaganda. The New York Times is supporting and propping up the terrorists. They just issued their little quasi-fake apology because they immediately ran with that hospital story, like you were saying. I mean, they put a picture that wasn't even the hospital on the front page to convince people that the hospital was destroyed as well. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, imagine if we're in World War II again, and all of the media outlets in the U.S., for example, were taking the side of the Nazis. I mean, what would you say? I mean, what would the action the government would be allowed to take against them, right? I mean, that wouldn't be permitted in a time of war, correct? I mean,
correct.
We know what would happen. So, it gets into a gray area. But I think all the the First Amendment and stuff like that. I think that you have to have a little bit of common sense about things as well. I mean, at what point does the First Amendment? I mean. Obviously, if you have people in the U.S. that are championing terrorists, or Al Qaeda, that's a different situation.
All right, we've all seen 1984, right? When they make that guy say that 2 + 2 is 5, not 4, right? And they indoctrinate ideology into these people's heads. So Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about anti-Semitism. Okay, that's what she was asked about, and here was her answer.
Level of concern right now about the potential rise of anti-Semitism in light of everything that's going on in Israel.
So a couple of things. We have not seen any credible threats. I know there's been always questions about credible threats, and so just want to make sure that that's out there. But look, Muslim and those perceived to be Muslim have endured a disproportionate number of hate-fueled attacks.
Stop. That's what we need. So the question was about anti-Semitism. We don't see any of that, but we see lots of Islamophobia. I can't believe she had the nerve to say that, but they'll get away with it. 2 + 2 = 5, not 4.
Well, it is insane to think that someone, a representative can come out and make that statement boldly like that and not face really much backlash except for Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to censure certain people and so on and so forth. That's crazy. That's somebody who's elected, who's not fearful to say that, which tells you that they believe that they have a lot of support behind them that agrees with them. But I mean, that's the whole sickening thing about this. It's almost like the thousands slaughtered some Americans, but mostly Israeli individuals at that music festival and in the neighborhoods, that didn't happen. They pretend like that didn't instigate. It's crazy to me. And here we are. Oh, we got to worry about, people that are against Muslims.
Right. Drew Allen Podcast, drewallen.substack.com. Drew, thank you so much, man. We'll talk next week.
Talk next week. Thanks, guys.
See you, Drew.
He's right. He's
totally right.
All right, listen, thanks for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
I need a cigarette. Is that okay? Dan Bongino's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 101.9. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner home selling team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Hamas freed 2 elderly Israeli women on Monday as the U.S. advised Israel holding off on the ground offensive could allow for more.
Hostages were an 85-year-old and a 79-year-old who had been snatched from their kibbutz near the Gaza border during Hamas's October 7th rampage into southern Israel. It's okay. That's fine. It's the second such release, but the Israeli military says more than 200 others, including the 83-year-old and 84-year-old husbands of the 2 women, are still being held hostage. Americans believed to be among them. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby.
It is literally an hour-by-hour effort here at the White House and at the State Department to find out where these folks are and to try to make the effort to get them out and get them back.
I'm Ben Thomas.
Also at townhall.com, the United Auto Workers Union ramping up the heat on General Motors as 5,000 workers walked off their jobs at a highly profitable SUV factory in Arlington, Texas. That walkout comes just a day after the union went on strike at Stellantis pickup truck factory in Sterling Heights, Michigan, north of Detroit. 46,000 workers now striking. Meanwhile, the strike against GM is expected to cut that automaker's pre-tax earnings by $800 million this year, and then another $200 million per week after that.
The company's chief financial officer says those figures just include factories that are on strike now by the United Auto Workers Union. Paul Jacobson says if more plants are added, the losses will pile up further. Jacobson's statements came as GM reported just over $3 billion in net income from July through September.
That's correspondent Jeremy House. Stocks are higher. The Dow up 231 points and the NASDAQ ahead 93 points. More at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, an evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group, because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word faith to 989898 and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 meteorologist Leah Hill. Going to be a bit of a dreary day as we have increasing cloud cover and a few spot showers are possible. Temperatures will still rise to near 80 degrees and we'll start to see those rain chances increasing overnight to about 30%. Overnight lows reaching 66 and then tomorrow upper 70s, lower 80s. In fact, we're entering this stretch of unsettled weather that will last through Monday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Dealing with storm damage? Don't panic. Eureka Contracting and Roofing is here to help. With the recent storms, they understand it can be overwhelming. Remember, you don't have to rush into signing with the first door-to-door salesman. Don't let pushy sales tactics force you into a contract you're not comfortable with. Before making decisions, take a moment. Give the folks at Eureka Contracting and Roofing a call like I did for a no-pressure inspection. They'll assess the damage, determine if it's insurable. If it is, they'll guide you through the insurance process, and your only out-of-pocket expense will be your deductible. Eureka Contracting and Roofing, 636-938-ROOF, eurekacontracting.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. I love to grill and definitely prefer using charcoal over gas. And ever since I met Jonathan Heslop and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, I can't use anything else. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and has been the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal for several years. So you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. Doesn't get any better than that. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
I'll go back.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s New Country streaming now. The news and talk.
We're thrilled to be here to take back this state from the radical left lunatics.
That matters to St. Louis.
It's about the auto workers who are part of the fabric of the working class of this country.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
So hilarious, man, how these left-wing lunatics, Rumble scares them so much. Every day there's a new article by some left-wing nut job about Rumble. They're like, I don't even know how to describe the media's paranoia with the idea of free speech. It drives them. Nothing makes me happier. And the fact that they listen to my show so intently every day, I just want you to understand, the media matters and the left-wing nuts out there. You have no idea how much I enjoy every second of this. The fact that your entire lives are spent sitting there in front of a computer or a radio listening to my show, writing down every single word, just gives me, I derive so much pleasure from it. It is so enjoyable that your pleasure is completely determined by my permission. Gosh, I love that. It is so just edifying and makes me feel just terrific. They are obsessed with Rumble. They can't get the fact that they cannot control us over Rumble. I don't want to get too sidetracked off my topic here, but they can't get it. They want it banned off planet Earth, so because we just don't listen to them. They want it wiped from the ecosystem of the internet because we just don't listen to them, and we don't do their content discrimination based on politics like they want. It's just glorious to watch. The cat lady in a total meltdown over Rumble is just, it's just so much fun. It is worth the price. All of the money I've invested in the free speech ecosystem, it's worth every single penny to watch these idiots spend all of their days grifting off people trying so hard to tilt against windmills. We're not going anywhere at all, ever, no matter what. And there's nothing you can do to make us stop in this free speech fight. But don't worry, if you go on a college campus and you scream like, F the Jews or something, the White House is like, we don't really have a comment on that. We're about the First Amendment and everything. Like, oh, you are? Oh, that's interesting. You guys are about the First Amendment for a bunch of terrorist sympathizers, but you're not about the First Amendment for anyone else. It's pretty clear where you idiots stand. Folks, last night was kind of a really incredible experience for me. Some of you who listen to me in the radio, I said I was going to be at the movie premiere for Police State last night. I was there in Stewart, in Florida. I don't live too far from there, and showed up, and so many people were surprised. It was crazy. I'm sitting there because I think in Theater 7, at the Regency in Stewart. It'll be playing there again on Wednesday night. And I sat down in the front, and I think some of the people didn't see me when I walked in. So I got up, and, it's weird when you're in a movie and it's light and, it's very low light. You can't really see a lot. The movie hadn't started yet. No, the trailers, obviously. And I got up and said, I hope you all enjoyed the movie. And everybody was like, wait, is that what is this guy doing here? Like, that's Dan Bongino. And it was really cool. I hadn't seen the movie with the opening credits or with the music built in. I'd only seen a screener. So it was really emotional, me watching it with the opening credits and the credits and with the music and everything. It really caught me off guard. And when it opened up and said, executive producers, Dan and Paula Bongino, everybody started clapping. And I looked over at Paula, grabbed her hand, and honestly, so did I. It was pretty moving. I've never produced a movie before. It's my first time. So if you want to see the movie, it's policestatefilm.net. And folks, I know it's my movie, and it's hard for me to be in any way objective about it. But it was really a moving experience. At the end, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. That thing I started with Rumble, although it seems unrelated, it's not. The fact that we're living in a police state now where you're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to start a business they don't approve of, you're not allowed to keep a business open they disapprove of, you're not allowed to say certain words they disapprove of, you're not allowed to talk about vaccines or COVID, you're not allowed to talk about policing in America, you're not allowed to talk about, but you can say, kill the Jews and exterminate the Jews. If you say that, the left's perfectly okay. Matter of fact, they'll hold a little rally for you on a college campus and you'll probably get a raise. Anything other than that, though, we were living in a full police state. So when I saw the movie on the screener, the sound effects, a lot of them were not in there, just the dialogue was. So I didn't realize the movie ended the way it did. I'm not going to give away the ending, but around the country, the movie's gone viral today. All of the feedback on it is incredible. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go to Twitter or True Social and put in police state movie and just watch what happened around the country when everybody saw it. At the end of the movie, people have been getting up and they been singing the national anthem because of the way it ends. And it happened in my movie theater in Stewart. And I said to my wife, I said, man, isn't that cool? Like everybody got up and sang the national anthem at the end. And I thought it just happened with us. And then people started sending me videos. This was from Daphne, Alabama. This is from 1819 News, a screening of Police State, my movie with Dinesh D'Souza. This is from the end last night. Someone took this cell phone video. Check this out. That wasn't it. Here was another one from a friend of mine in Maryville, Tennessee, who put this on his cell phone at the end of the movie while he was walking out. Get a load of this. Folks, the movie's a deeply emotional experience. Describes how far our country's gone down the tubes. How the police state, despite an overwhelming terror threat in the United States right now, terrorists likely pouring across our southern border, maybe our northern border, we unquestionably have people in the United States right now who do us harm. How the FBI, the government, the media, Media Matters, and others have been completely distracted trying to censor, put in jail, physically harm in some cases, conservatives. They have wasted all of this time. When you watch the movie start to finish, you're going to be devastated. There are people who were walking out. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. I stayed. If you want to see pictures of it, You can watch my show on Rumble today. I put some pictures up of me in the movie theater. There were people lining up to chat. The opening scene and the end, they're just going to blow you away. But I'm going to be candid with you. It's sad. It's a hard movie to watch. I win a dry eye in the house. And again, that we've wasted all this time. All of these people targeting Tea Party groups, targeting Trump supporters, pro-lifers, parents at school boards, while the terror threat has exploded around the country and around the world. Left me in that movie theater last night with a sense of, in one case, despair, but in the end, listening to people sing that national anthem at the end, knowing that this is fixable and we've been in worse places before, left me with a reinvigorated sense of hope. Because I think people in that movie theater understood that if we don't turn this tide around quick, that all is lost. But it doesn't have to be lost. And Dinesh even acknowledges in the movie at the end that we're not there yet. In a full police state, we wouldn't be able to show this movie. But folks, there are things I don't talk about on the air. If I told you how many obstacles we had to jump through to get this movie in theaters, where no liberal group would have to do this, you would lose your mind. We're in a bad spot, folks. These people are never going to stop. Whether it's Rumble, whether it's True Social, whether it's Donald Trump, parents at school board meetings, Republicans running for office, the left has an insatiable bloodlust for tyranny, for physical violence, and for censorship. And when you live it every day like I do, they never fail to disappoint you. Whenever you set a standard for the left, they will always break through the basement of low standards and go even lower. I mean, think about this, right? The left has been telling us about the dangers of mis and disinformation for what, 6 and 7 years now since they made up those ridiculous terms? They've been telling us about the dangers of misinformation as yet again, the New York Times bungled another major news story about a hospital explosion in Gaza that led to outbreaks of violence around the world. And not a single one of these Media Matters goons, cat lady types, or anything else is calling for a boycott of the New York Times. Not The Guardian, which has another hit piece out on Rumble. These people are human flaming garbage. They would physically hurt you in a second if they could. They are never to be trusted. And the enemy is already here, and they don't care. They are too busy trying to censor you. It's incredible that the ADL, that's supposed to exist to combat anti-Semitism, sees an explosion of left-wing lunatics around the country screaming everything from to the river to the sea, which is a call for Jewish genocide, by the way. And what was their main focus the other day? White supremacists everywhere. You really believe the home to anti-Semitism is on the right? And this, are you even alive in the real world right now? Do you even watch Twitter every day? How many left-wing Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar's, Cori Bushes there are out there calling for the most radical things when it comes to treating Jews and Israelis? Are you even living in the same world we're living in? The southern border is getting ready to be infiltrated again by pockets of terrorists who know it's open. Oh, no, that's not going to happen, Dan. Oh, really? Jim, if you would, cut 3. Here's Peter Doocy on Fox News yesterday. Don't worry, the left is busy targeting Rumble, Trump supporters, and arresting pro-lifers and parents at school boards. But don't sweat the fact that there are terrorists openly now walking into the country on the southern border. Check this out.
But the intel arm of CBP has a new bulletin out, and the headline is pretty alarming. It says in bold letters right at the top, foreign fighters of Israel-Hamas conflict may be encountered at southwest border. The Daily Caller got a copy of this material. It was distributed 3 days ago, and it's about Hamas, Hezbollah, or Islamic Jihad fighters exploiting the porous border to get into the U.S. Part of the concern is that terrorists can see a ton of traffic down there. The new number is 2.48 million encounters in a fiscal year, and among them at least 172 people from the terror watch list. That is 172 who actually came face to face with law enforcement and didn't get away.
Don't worry, Jim. It's only 172 known terrorists. Just 172, folks. That's this year, by the way, that we know about. And I heard something disturbing on a cable news channel this morning. There was a guest on who's saying that number is likely a gross underestimate because apparently a bunch of people refuse to get fingerprinted at the border, and they suspect one of the reasons is because they would pop in a terrorist database. Oh, so what happened? Oh, they were let in the country anyway. Where are they? We don't know. I heard that I'm like, no. And then I looked it up and did a little homework, and yeah, Pierce, she's right. We have no idea where they are, who they are, what they're planning. Folks, the enemy's already here. The enemy's already here. If you think it's a conspiracy theory or whatever Media Matters told you, then you're a moron and you're putting yourself in danger. The bad news is something bad is going to happen here. The only thing that may come out of this, is it may wake up a lot of people as to the danger the communist leftists put us in, spending the last few years targeting conservatives, ignoring the real threat, opening our southern border, and inviting a terror attack on this soil. I can only hope it opens some people's eyes because the enemy's already here. More on this next. We'll be right back.
Bongino. Larry Elder here, and I want to talk to you for a minute about 100% drug-free Relief Factor. You know, we all get a little bit older every day, and we all experience aches and pains. Many people even struggle just to get out of bed in the morning and face the world. If you're one of them, then you could be exactly the person Relief Factor was made to help. Let me tell you about Catherine in Pennsylvania. She had shoulder aches, and I mean the kind that were ruining her life. She decided to give Relief Factor a try because she'd heard so many of us on the radio singing its praises. And guess what? After only a few weeks, her pain was nearly gone. No side effects, just relief. Many of my friends and I take Relief Factor every single day. Hundreds of thousands of others have tried it, and about 70% have gone on to order more. Your first step to becoming pain-free just might be to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference.
Dan Bongino.
What happens next?
Citizens of Israel, we are at war, not in an operation or in rounds, but at war.
Happens right here.
Hamas entered our communities. It was the worst nightmare ever.
250 Israelis are dead.
The next stage of this operation will be the response.
Let's make no mistake. This is an Iranian-backed assault and war.
1019 and 94.1.
My administration's support for Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering.
NewstalkSTL.
Get ready for winter by making sure your family is warm and safe when the bone-chilling weather gets here. Mike Ferguson here for Anton's Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Energy Experts. Call them today to get your furnace tune-up. It's only $89, and it could save you hundreds or even thousands by preventing a breakdown. 314-338-3941 or antonshvac.com. Anton's installed our HVAC system, and we love it. Put their expertise and excellent customer service to work for you, just like they did for my house. antonshvac.com.
Hi, Sean Long for STL FenceWorks. STL FenceWorks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL FenceWorks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL FenceWorks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL FenceWorks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL FenceWorks is maintenance-free decking. STL FenceWorks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL FenceWorks make your outdoor space magical. Visit stlfenceworks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
When it's important to you, stay informed. It's on News Talk STL.
It was a peace festival. We did nothing to provoke them.
The message that I bring to Israel